So let's start off with talking a little bit about what you do and how you got to where you are at.
Okay, so what I do is I pretty much work in everything that is art department.
Mhm.
I started as a PA just to like kind of like an entry job in the film
Yeah.
industry. So I started getting like my contacts and I started like meeting people and working on different projects until eventually I made it into like the art department. I have done mostly set dressing and set decoration, but lately I've been getting a lot of opportunities as art director and I have done production design for a few projects as well. I did went to film school for that, so a lot of my contacts did come from school, and other ones from like student films that I did, and like people I would just meet. Like I have one of my neighbors down the street. He's in the film industry, and he happens to be a production designer. So just contacts like that I just made, and they started bringing me into their projects too.
One of the most difficult things to do is, get your foot in the door. Some people say it's good to go to film school. Some people say it's not. What was so beneficial about film school for you?
For me, I think it was, well, first of all, it was like a personal growth going to school. And also the people that I met, because I didn't had the experience of being on a film set before. So being a student at least got me into student films and some student films, especially from like big schools like AFI or like USC. Those schools have like a full set. Like they do the whole thing like it is normally in a normal set. So I got to be exposed to that. So by the time I actually got to have jobs, I knew what I was doing, and at least I knew how to navigate or like how to understand like certain words that the film industry use, like how to like talk in the walkie, how to communicate with like the head departments, stuff like that. And I don't think if I just like didn't go to school and didn't have that experience, probably if I just go, I will be very lost. So I think it was more like a guidance that I had. Um, and being able to like just go to a professor and be like, okay, so this happens to me on set, how do I make this better, how could I, yeah. So I do think film school can be beneficial. I think it depends on the person and depends on the program.
Yeah, I definitely think any education's beneficial.
Yeah.
So a lot of what the entertainment industry is who you know,
Hmm.
and you're the quickest way to get in the door is knowing somebody. For you, did you know anybody? How did you get your foot in the door?
So I started like with doing PA jobs, like just reaching out to some people that I already knew. I know sometimes they post on like there's websites where they post when they need PAs, and that's how I started. So I a lot of the like union jobs that I got was through those because I worked for them as a PA and they knew that I wanted to do our department. So they kept calling me. I even printed myself business cards. So I will give it to them and I'm like, hey, if you ever need a PA, I'm here, just give me a call or something. And like on the back of it I said like ready to work, like whenever you call me I'm like I'm gonna be there. And just being present at the job, like being extremely helpful, um, just being there for everybody. Like I noticed, for example, camera department used to have a really hard time going to Crafty to grab water or something, so I was like, okay, as soon as they're like done with that scene, let me go offer them water and stuff. So just not trying to promote myself all the time, I will say. It's just more like being there, being present, being friendly, and trying to connect with the people. Sometimes with simple stuff like, oh, you have a cat, I have a cat, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, and like they start getting to know you. They're like, okay, we kind of like click on the same personality. Or sometimes it's like, okay, I like her Bible, and they're just gonna keep calling you. And I think, and sometimes it's like I'll get text messages of like, hey, this person recommended me that you work before on this one. Are you available this day to work on this? And I'm like, oh yeah. So it's like it eventually started like getting so much that like my name started getting referred to other people, and that's how I started getting into more and more jobs.
That is awesome. You come from outside of Hollywood, so how was it for you adapting to the Hollywood life?
Oh, it's hard because okay, I'm not the most I am very expressive. I'm like extrovert person. I tend to be kind of quite of shy, and I've noticed people here like very into like okay, let's go network, let's go to talk to people, let's do this, let's do that. And for me, it's like getting out of my comfort zone. Also coming from a different country, it's like sometimes the English barrier for me was like, because I now I feel like I'm more comfortable, but like when I started, of course, I was very like, I don't know, scared sometimes to say the wrong thing or not being able to communicate my ideas well or something like that. So it was like, and it was adapting to the culture, adapting to how people behave in the industry. Like everything in LA is so diverse. So like you don't know how to like talk to certain people, because for me it was like, okay, how do I now? I think it's fine. And I know LA now, but it was definitely like even saying hello to people, because I'm in Colombia, we say hello, we give ourselves like a kiss on the cheek like that. And here when I did that, some people will be like, what is she doing? And I'm like, oh, this is not allowed here. So stuff like that. It was just getting used to like the people, the manners, like a lot of like the cultural shock, I guess, that people get when they move to a different country.
Definitely. And you talked a little bit about not always promoting yourself. For many people who try to get in the industry, it's all about, promoting themselves, making themselves seem like the most desired person for the job. Why was it for you not ideal for you to be boasting about yourself at all times? I guess why let the work speak for itself?
Because I think people don't really want to hear, and they're like, oh yeah, how are you this great? How are like show it to me instead of like really telling me. And also like people don't sometimes like I notice that they don't are not really interested in knowing what you've done or like, oh, what school did you go? They don't really care about those things. Sometimes they're so busy on their job, especially if you're on set. They're so focused on what's going on set that they don't have the time to like listen to somebody get like promote themselves or something. So if you're there present, if you're just like helpful, asking the right questions at the right times, I feel like they notice that more. And also it can get exhausting to just keep promoting and then not seeing any reaction too. So I guess kind of like at least on my part, I relax on that area. I'm like, I'm just gonna be here, be present, be friendly, and enjoy, because I do enjoy being on set. I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy being here.
Definitely. And as a Hispanic, we don't see many of our people either behind the camera or in front of the camera usually. How do you feel about that? How have you seen that through your perspective?
Well, it makes me really sad when they say that, oh, this film is so diverse. And I'm like, well, maybe they have like one or two, but they don't have Latino. So I'm like, it gets me really sad. And when they do this stereotypical Latino that they like the roles that they get or that they portray, I'm like, well, we are not all like that. Why do we always have to be the ones like, I don't know, why cannot we be a lawyer? Why cannot we in movies? We cannot be, I don't know, a doctor, like different positions or stuff like that, that we're like, even like younger generations, they can see that. And I'm like, oh, I want to be like the lawyer, or like even a superhero. We don't have any Latino superheroes. So it's like, we don't have any to relate to, something that when we're little and we're growing up, we're like, okay, I want to do that. I want to be like that, or get a role model, you know?
Definitely.
And it's like we also have stories to tell, we also have so many things to share to the world, that is, it's just sad when like we don't get to see them like on film, especially on Hollywood, because we do have our own films, but it's not the same as seeing ourselves being portrayed in, like, I don't know, in a movie in Hollywood or a TV show or stuff like that.
Definitely. And as a Hispanic, yeah, we always try to be as much as humanly possible. You talked about being flexible, taking people water, being present. That's something that I see a lot of Hispanics do. Eugenio Derbez does multiple things on a set, even though he's the main star.
The main star, yeah.
He still continues to do more. What is it about Hispanics in specific that we have to do more? We have to be present and help out as much as we can.
I think it's natural in all Latinos to do that. We tend to be very like friendly, but like, I don't know, like at least seeing from how it is from my family, My house is always open for everybody in my family. They just arrive to my house and they're like, "Oh, do you want coffee?" Like we're always like open to like, "Here, do you need anything? Do you want food?" Like I don't want to use the word serving, but it's like very welcoming. Always like, "Hey, I'm here for you. Whatever you need." Like with the family and everybody. Like even my friends, like they know that if they just go to my house, sometimes some of them don't even knock. They just walk in and like, "Hey." So I feel like it's that like I feel like that's for most of us Latinos. We're very open to, I don't know, be there for the people. I'm like, "Oh, let me offer you water." Or like we notice things too. It's like, okay, that person hasn't had the time to, I don't know, grab a drink or get some snacks. Let me bring it to them because we sometimes we have the time and it's not something that is gonna take us a long time or it's gonna, I don't know, it's not gonna be something bad for us. So I think it's something that we all Latinos have. It's just, yeah, like being there, being like, um, I am trying to find the word. Um, but yeah, it's just like we are very like embracing of everybody too.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like we try to treat everybody like family. I think that's
Mhm.
the biggest issue. Yeah. And for you, it seems like you've always wanted to be in the film industry. You went to film school. Uh, how early did you know, and why is it that you wanted to be part of the entertainment industry?
When I knew was when I was 13 years old. I know it started way before that because like I said, I was very shy. So growing up, I wasn't very sociable. So most of my time I was at home watching TV or watching movies and stuff like that. I remember getting like a catalog with like the schedule of like every week we'll get or every month, I don't remember the schedule of like the TV shows or like what movies we're gonna be shown in every channel. And I would like highlight them and set up alarms and be like, okay, on Friday at this time they're gonna show that movie. So I can like turn on my TV. So I was like always like surrounded by just that was my hobby, just watching TV and movies and everything. Till like my brother, I think when I was 11, he gave me one of those VHS cameras
Mhm.
and I started recording everything. I even taped something over one of my parents, like a family's tape or something. They got really mad about it because it's like they couldn't even tell what was on it because I filmed over it. Um, and I also got in trouble in school because like we were supposed to write essays and instead I would do a visual essay. So they were like, "No, this is not what we asked for." But it was just like the fact that I was like using the camera to like tell different stuff. And then I think like the moment that I decided like, okay, this is what I want to do is a friend of my mom's drop off a bunch of books in our house. My mom was like, okay, pick the ones that you want. The other ones we're going to donate. And in one of the books, it was one of everything that happened behind the scenes from the movie Inception. And my favorite director is Christopher Nolan. So for me, like looking at it, and I'm like everything that it got to be like how they built the hotel hallway and how they made it turn. For me, that was like, wow, they're making all of this just for that film. And the scene is it's a quite long, but it's I don't know. I was like so impressed by it, and I kept reading, and I'm like, what do I have to do to do this? Like, and I started researching, asking questions, and I'm like, and after that, I would like try to like think is like in the movies, I was like, I wonder how they did that. I wonder how they, and that's when I was like, I want to go to film school to get all of these answers. And I told my parents, I didn't even tell them where I was applying. I just applied to schools, and I told them, hey, I got accepted in this community college in the US. Can I go and study once I graduate? My parents were like, okay, she's bluffing. She's probably not. Was by the time she graduates, she's gonna change her mind. And as I graduated, I'm like, okay, we have to start the paperwork for the US. We have to do this because I knew I wanted to study film. So I think it was since I was 13, and it was thanks to I guess that book.
That's awesome. And what is your short term goal for yourself, and what is your long term goal when it comes to your career?
My short term, I think I will say just like keep working and eventually get to the union. Because I would like to be union, but long term, I would like to be a production designer. I like working on the other positions, but I would like to one day be the one designing the sets.
That is awesome. Well, I hope you get there.
Thank you.
It seems like you have such an amazing story and you have such great passion. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, thank you so much.